Hello. So today on the small holding I'm planting some more trees. I've actually just bought a few cuttings of a new sort of tree. So obviously one of my last videos I was taking some cuttings and planting some fast growing willow from some trees that I'd had for many years. One thing I've always looked at since growing my fast growing willow was hybrid poplars. They're also very popular as like a screening tree for biomass or for timber, things like this. And I've always sort of had a bit of a look and a bit of a read up on them. I've never bought any. So when I was doing my willows on my last video, I actually thought I'm gonna have a look and just see what's available still with the poplars. And I just decided to just buy a small bundle. So I bought a bundle of 50 to try. This was from a company called Hayes Trees. Now I ordered a bundle of 50 30 centimetre cuttings, which should be about that sort of size. They actually just upgraded my order. I assume probably because it's getting towards the end of the sort of planting season really for cuttings. We're last week of March now. They probably got unsold stock, so they upgraded them, which was a great thing. But obviously, so when they're stored, they're obviously just stored in water, because you can actually see with these, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video, they've actually got little roots already starting. So they will actually just root, if you just stand them in water, they will actually just root into the water. So I unpacked, they came yesterday, I unpackaged them and just brought them down here and stood them in water just to keep them nice and fresh. So the poplars really, from, like I said, I've never grown them. I have burnt poplar in the past. I've taken a few poplar trees down, and it's a similar sort of wood to the willow. It's a lighter, softer wood. When you harvest it, it's actually a very wet wood, so you need to give it a full year really under cover to season it properly. But it actually burns fine. It does burn quite quickly, but it will give you quite a hot fire. And as long as it's seasoned, then it will burn very efficiently. So for me, really, it's just something that I can fill some of the gaps that I've got. It's another thing to try. Obviously, I'm trying my eucalyptus. I do my willow. I do all my sycamores, birch, all sorts of different trees. And I'm just trying to kind of fill up the holding with things that I can coppice for either firewood or wood chip. So I'm going to dot these around. I'm not going to do like a bed of them or a screen. I'm just going to put them in any gaps that I can find here and there. I'm also going to put a few just up here in the chicken run area, just to give them some cover. I'll probably just coppice those more regularly, so it just gives them some sort of lower growing cover and shade in the summer. Now what I will do with my willow, I never bother, when I plant the cuttings, I never bother putting rabbit guards on them, because you've only got a little stub sticking out of the ground anyway. And because I've got established trees, I can just take lots of cuttings and plant far more than I need now that I've got them established. But what I am going to do, because I've got no poplars and I don't know how attractive they are to rabbits and deer, I'm actually going to just with some of them, probably 6 or 8 pots, I'm just going to pot them up and actually just grow some in pots, and I can keep them properly moist then through the summer. Look after them really well and make sure they survive. But because they've sent me cuttings that are twice the length of what I ordered, what I will actually do, because they're in pots, is just cut them in half and get 2 cuttings out of 1. So I don't need to measure anything, I'll just do it by eye. I'll cut just above a node there. So that is now 2 poplar cuttings. And all I'm going to do, I've got a load of 5-litre pots, so I'm just going to literally pot a few of them up like that, and I can keep it, because they do prefer slightly damper ground, I'll keep them moist. Could even stand them in a little tray that you use for like your grow bags. I've got a few of those little shallow trays, so I could just make sure there's an inch of water in the bottom just while they're getting established and rooting. You don't want them to dry out around the roots then. So I'm just gonna, like I say, pot up about 8 of these, and that'll just make sure, in case these get hammered by the rabbits and the deer, it will just make sure I've got a few stock trees, so that I can take my own cuttings again next year if I lose a lot of these. I am going to put some guards around some of them. I've got a bit of chicken mesh left, so I'm going to cut some little wire guards, and I will pop some guards around them, but I'm kind of running out of guards and things now. I've planted so many trees this year, and the trouble is so these are quite cheap. These with postage. If you go on the Bowhays Trees site, if you just wait a couple of minutes whilst you're looking, you'll get a pop-up which will say to sign up to their newsletter, and you get 15% off your first order. So this bundle of 50 with VAT and delivery, with the I think it's 15% off, might have been 10%, but with the money off, it was £24, so less than 50p per tree. So I mean, you know, it's worth a punt, really, isn't it, at that sort of price? But yeah, so I'm going to put guards, whatever guards I can find dotted about, I will put on them. But other than that, they're just going to go in and they'll sort of I just have to take their chances, really. And I plant them just the same way as I do the willow, but I will quickly show you that in case you haven't seen the willow planting video anyway. So we'll go and get a few in now. Right, so I've got my planting device, and I basically just ram it down into the ground, open the hole up, and then just put these in. I'm putting the full length of the cutting in on these ones in here. It'll give them a bit more sort of stored energy in the larger cutting, and then just heel it in around it, and that should come nicely. I will put some wood chip around just to stop any competition from the grass, and I will use any guards that I've got on these ones that I've put in to the chicken run, because it's quite important. They're quite exposed here. It's very windy today, and I'll get a lot of the wind coming from the west here, and it just blows straight up this little valley and it buffets the chickens quite a lot, so it's quite important to keep these ones going. So I've put them all along the front here, up that side there, and I'm going to dot a few more around, and I will probably put a few in the centre of the chicken area as well, just to try and give them a bit more of a sort of jungly feel. Obviously chickens are a sort of jungle fowl. I've realised after that heat wave last year, it's a little bit exposed up here, so something fast growing like this hopefully will give a bit of shade this year even. But anyway, that's another thing in. Just one thing to remember, which I didn't think about: they are very resinous on the buds, so you might want to wear gloves. It's quite hard to get off, so just something to think about if you're thinking on getting some or taking some cuttings. But I will do an update video in the summer, or later on in the year, next winter or whatever, just to show you how much growth they've put on and how they've done. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time, guys. Take it easy.